Chairs No Waiting, episode number 658. Who's Johnny Paul? Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at weaversdepartmentstore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out the 2022 Andy Griffith Show wall calendar. They're flying off the shelves. So if you want one, head over there and get one at Weavers. While you're getting it, you might want to get you some Miracle Salve because who wouldn't want that, especially since we're talking about Johnny Paul. And wow, I got to tell you, the book, The Boys, a memoir of a Hollywood family with Ron and Clint Howard, great book, something you might want to check out. Head over to Weaver's Department Store and check it out. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you. The executive producer of episode number 658 is Mike McGonigal. Thank you, Mike. Kentucky Mike in our chat room is the executive producer. He can put that on his resume. Thank you for being here with me as well. I'm Alan Newsom, the host of Two Chairs No Waiting, and it's always fun to spend time with you just talking about the Andy Griffith Show. And today we got even more excitement because we're hearing from more of you. More folks have called in. I had a couple of voicemails from one guy and another third one from someone else, and we're going to go through those in just a minute and talk about one of the things we're going to talk about is who's Johnny Paul? Who is that? So we'll talk about that just a little bit. And it's just always fun. We're going to play some trivia and hear from Randy Turner with This Week in Mayberry History. So we've got lots of fun tonight. So let's get this thing started. I want to hear the voicemails because I always enjoy hearing from you. And if you'd like to leave me a voicemail, you can call me at 888-684-8415 and leave a message. I would love to hear from you. And you'll be just like these folks right here. So let's go first to Spirit Walker. We're going to hear from him twice, actually. But let's go hear from him in his first voicemail.
Alan, this is Spirit Walker. I'm a American Indian Andy Griffith Show fanatic. I recently discovered your podcast, and I've been binge watching it on YouTube. And I also have a Facebook group, the Andy Griffith Show Esquire Club. That's a group dedicated to not just watching tags, but studying it in detail. And on your podcast, 567, you were talking about same actor, different character. You mentioned Jack Prince, who played Ben Sewell, Luke Rayner, and Rafe Hollister. I know he played others, but those three caught my attention because in Alcohol and Old Lace is Ben Sewell, and in The Inspector is Luke Rayner, in The County Nurse is Rafe Hollister, and I know he played other episodes as Rafe. But those three distinguish Jack Prince as the only actor in TAG's history to have played three different moonshiners. But more significantly, he became the only actor to play three different characters, all of whom shot at Andy. All three of them. Talk about dodging a bullet, man. Hey, take care. You're doing a great job.
Wow, thank you. I did not know that. Now I knew he played the three characters. That was new. That wasn't news, but I never had thought about it being the all three of them shot at Andy. Man, he was a good shot. You know, if he had wanted to hit him, he would have. Right? You know that. So anyway, that was cool information, and I just never had pieced that together. So thank you so much for calling in with that. And he's got the next message as well, and that's really kind of what I named the podcast about tonight. So let's go ahead and hear Spirit Walker's next voicemail. So let's hear this.
Hello, Alan. This is Spirit Walker with the Andy Griffith Show Esquire Club Facebook group. Hey, you talk about mysteries as in who Mr. Schwamp is. I have my own mystery I've been working on, and that is, who was the kid that first played Johnny Paul Jason? Randy Turner and I talked about it, and we can't figure out who that kid is. It is not Richard Keith. He is billed as Richard Keith. It's the episode in Man in a Hurry when Opie is trading horsehair from his jacket, his suit, with Johnny Paul Jason up at the flagpole by the church. And Johnny Paul Jason's trading him a penny that had been run over by a train. If you look at that actor, that kid actor playing Johnny Paul Jason, it is definitely not Richard Keith. So who is it? Who played that part? That's my mystery. I'm researching that, and I've come up with nothing. Maybe you can help. Thanks a lot, and keep up the great work.
Wow, that's something I never really thought about. Because I know his name's Johnny Paul, but I never was. They didn't say Johnny Paul Jason, did they? But if they did, either way, that's Johnny Paul. There's a possibility there's more than one Johnny Paul. It's possible. But that was who is this? Who is this young man? Who is the young man that played this character in this episode? Now, if you're just listening to the podcast, if you go and watch that episode, Man in a Hurry, you'll see it. They're standing around, I don't know, maybe a flagpole or a telephone pole, kind of over toward the side of the church. If you're looking at the front door of the church, they're over to the left, and the squad car is parked right there as well. So it's definitely not Keith Thibodeau. It's not him. It's not him that's playing that role, because that's who Johnny Paul Jason. That's who we all know he is. Now, Keith, just in case you don't know, Keith was he played Little Ricky on I Love Lucy. He did that as well. So you may or may not know that. And his real name was Richard Keith, not his real name, but his stage name. That's the name he went by as an actor, playing the role of Little Ricky. And also there on the Andy Griffith Show, he was Richard Keith. Not Keith Richards, because I have accidentally called him that one time when I was introducing him. That's a completely different performer. But he was Richard Keith, and it's definitely not him who we see in the episode Man in a Hurry. That's Johnny Paul. So there's a Johnny Paul there, and he's got, this boy has blonde hair. Keith has more brown hair. At the time he did anyway, when he was young. So it's not him that's playing that role, I don't think, unless for some reason he had really blonde hair at the time. Maybe we can get with Keith and find out if he knows who it was. It's possible that he would know. But Opie was over there. If you'll remember, Andy said he's over there pulling horse hairs out of his lapel. He's yelling at him, you want your suit to go soft? You remember that? So that's what he's doing in that episode. And I had never actually thought that was supposed to be the same little boy. He is Johnny Paul, but I'd always thought it was a different Johnny Paul, because maybe there's more than one kid named Johnny Paul in Mayberry. I mean, it's possible. It is possible. But, anyway, so there is a new mystery for us to work on that I think we could solve this one. So all you guys that are great at researching and have been trying to figure out who Mr. Swamp is, see if you can figure out who this first Johnny Paul was. If we can figure that out, maybe we will see him on other episodes if we start paying attention. So I'll try to post a picture of him in the Facebook page, so you'll be able to see the comparison between him and Keith Thibodeau. Okay, so you'll be able to tell the difference between the two of them. One thing I did want to mention is I was looking at this. If you actually watch the episode, the Johnny Paul comes running out of the church, and he is holding Mrs. Marvell's hand. Remember her, the nice dress Nellie? That's what we've always called her, but Marvell Lawrence is her name. She and Tom Jacobs are walking out of the church right behind Barney. And I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit here. And you can see them, and she is actually holding Johnny Paul, this first Johnny Paul's hand, as they're walking out of the church. But then in the very next shot, when you see him, he's running off without holding onto her hand, and she's there. As it makes it appear as if that character and Tom Jacobs' character as extras are married or something. But Johnny Paul goes running off in front of them, and maybe that was supposed to be their child. And then later on in the episode, he's over there with Opie pulling the hair out of the shirts and stuff, or out of, not the shirt, the coat. So go and check that out when you're watching it. You'll see Marvell Lawrence. That's Nice Dress Nellie. That's what people have always called her. Andy Griffith Show folks have. And Tom Jacobs, that's Danny Thomas's brother, that walk out of the church holding his hand when they walk out. So definitely something new for us to search for, folks. So that's the reason I called this podcast episode, Who is Johnny Paul? So we're going to figure out who this person is. All right. So that's great. And I thank you, Spirit Walker, for bringing this up. I thought this was a interesting topic for us to go and investigate and become even smarter into this stuff. All right. So I've got one more voicemail that also I think you're going to enjoy. So this is from Chris. So let's hear this one.
Hey, Alan, this is Chris from Georgia. Huge fan. I had a comment about Season 1, Episode 25, A Plaque for Mayberry. As the story goes, Helen Tibbs married the second cousin of a fella named Duncan Phyfe. He was a famous cabinet maker, but he spelled his name Phyfe, not Fife. So to that, Barney says, sooner or later, someone had to spell it right. Well, in my own research, I looked into the history of Duncan Phyfe, and Barney was actually right. When Duncan Phyfe moved to the USA in 1784 as an apprentice cabinet maker, he spelled his name Fife. When he opened his own shop in 1792 in New York, he changed the spelling to Phyfe. So maybe Barney Tibbs Fife is a direct descendant of Old Nate after all. So that's my comment, and maybe Barney was right. I really enjoy listening to the show. Thank you.
Chris throwing us a little curve. That's nice. So maybe Helen Duncan Phyfe, it's Phyfe, Fife. Maybe Duncan Phyfe actually did at one point spell his name right, Fife, and changed it. Or maybe somebody wrote it down wrong on a roll or something. But either way, it was spelled Fife, according to Chris. And maybe really did change it to Duncan Phyfe, Phyfe. So there you go. Because you had there, if you remember, Barney drew out the entire family tree there, starting at Nathan Tibbs and then his wife Anna, and then they show going down from there all the different folks that were related to them, and he gets it down to the point where it's Helen Duncan Phyfe. And then he pulls it on down to show that he could be the one who was a historical figure. So definitely something to look into there. That's good. Good job, Chris. Let's give Chris a big hand. He gets a trained noticer award. Noticer, if I say it correctly. Noticer award. Great job, Chris. That's good detective work. And hey, more mysteries to look into and to see if we can confirm. And do you reckon they really knew this? Did they know when they did the Andy Griffith Show that was the case? Did they know he actually did spell his name Fife and then changed it? Were the writers historians? What is this? So, hey, hopefully that's fun for you. It is for me. I like this kind of stuff where you find out just little tidbits about the Andy Griffith Show. And if you do enjoy things like that, you would definitely enjoy the Esquire Club. Now that is on Facebook. If you'd like to join it, that's that Spirit Walkers Club that he has over there. It's the Andy Griffith Show Esquire Club. Now it's a private group, but you can ask to join, or maybe you can join. There's about 1,100 members over there, and I think you can find it and then ask if you can join. But they are digging into some of these kind of things quite often. So I definitely want to invite you over there. And thank you, Spirit Walker and Chris, for taking time to call in and give us some of this really cool information. All right, guys, it's time to play some trivia. If you guys are ready, let's get some Mockingbird playing from the VW Boys. That's our trivia music. And take out your pen and your piece of paper, or your pencil and a piece of paper, and let's play some Andy Griffith trivia. All right, question number 1. It's a true and false question. You ready? All right. Andy said Jubal Foster. Oh, no. Andy paid Jubal Foster $450 to replace his burnt barn. True or false? Andy paid Jubal Foster $450 to replace his burnt barn. True or false? All All right, last, I'm going to read it one more time, give you the answer. It's true or false, so you got a 50-50 chance, right? Andy paid Jubal Foster $450 to replace his burnt barn. The answer is false. That is not what he paid him. That's not what he paid him. All right, number two. Now, this one you just got to get. What did Opie try to win for Andy at the shooting gallery? What did Opie try to win for Andy at the shooting gallery? Come on, this one, you can get this one. What did Opie try to win for Andy at the shooting gallery? It was at the fair. Okay. The answer is an electric razor. It's electric razor. Barney could have used that because he's a man. He shaves a lot when he travels. All right, let's go. Can't do the next question on here because I'll just go ahead and read it to you, but it's unfair. Who burned his own barn and blamed it on Opie and his friends? We'll go ahead and use this one just so you can feel good. Who burned his own barn and blamed Opie and his friends? If you don't get this one, you're not paying attention. All right. Who burned his own barn and blamed it on Opie and his friends? The answer is Jubal Foster. That was the first question. Come on. Jubal. There you go. All right. Number 4. Oh, here we go. This one's a little harder. This one is harder. Which was not a problem at the Taylor house? Which was not a problem? I'm going to read you 4 things. One of them is not a problem at the Taylor house. Was it not, I should say, roof leaked? B, noisy pipes? C, a crack in the ceiling? Or D, a hole in the furnace? Which was not a problem at the Taylor house? A leaky roof, the roof leaks, noisy pipes, a crack in the ceiling, or a hole in the furnace. Which was not a problem. So this is different. This is unusual. Which one is not a problem? The roof leaked, noisy pipes, a crack in the ceiling, or a hole in the furnace at the Taylor home? The answer is the hole in the furnace. That was not at the Taylor home. That was at the other house, right? And the basement was flooded too. You can see real good with the light from the hole in the furnace. So yeah, the Taylor house had a leaky roof and noisy pipes and a crack in the ceiling. You remember? All right. So the answer was it did not have a hole in the furnace. All right. Number 5. Are you ready? Here we go. This is true or false. Opie had a dog named Gulliver. True or false? Opie had a dog named Gulliver. True or false? Yeah, it was Hallie's house that had the crack in the furnace, wasn't it? The flooded basement. All right. Opie had a dog named Gulliver. True or false? The answer is true. That is true. And not only did Opie have a dog named Gulliver, so did Ron Howard. That was Ron Howard's dog's name, Gulliver. Gulliver was his dog. In the book, The Boys, he talks about his dog. Talks about both of them. He had 2 dogs named Gulliver, at least 2. He talks about them. All right. Let's see. Number 6. Which diner waitress did Goober date? Which diner waitress did Goober date? Which diner waitress did Goober date? The answer is he dated Flora. Flora. That's who he dated. Flora is who he dated. All right. All right. So number 7. Number 7. This is a good one. What flavor ice cream did Barney buy Thelma Lou? What flavor ice cream did Barney buy Thelma Lou? She's a cute public. All right. What flavor of ice cream did Barney buy Thelma Lou? This is a little hard one, but here's the answer. Okay. It's West Indian Licorice Mocha Delight. West Indian Licorice Mocha Delight. I've never actually had that one. All right, folks in the chat room are getting it. All right, so now that you know that Barney bought Thelma Lou West Indian Licorice Mocha Delight, how much was a half gallon of it? How much was a half gallon of West Indian Licorice Mocha Delight ice cream? How much did it cost? How much did it cost? West Indian Licorice Mocha Delight for a half a gallon. All right. Was it 30 cents, 75 cents, 90 cents, or 40 cents? What's your answer? And she's a cute public. And here is your change because he made her pay for it. He bought it for her, but he made her pay for it. The answer is a half a gallon of West Indian Licorice Mocha Delight cost 40 cents. 40 cents. And he made her pay him, and he gave her back a dime. That was a cheap boyfriend. Oh, my goodness. All right, let's do two more. How many steps are there on the front porch of the Taylor's house? How many steps are on the front of the Taylor's porch is the way it actually reads. How many steps are there? How many steps are on the front of the Taylor porch? How many steps? This one's a little hard. Yeah, what do you count steps? How do you count them? All right. How many steps are on the front of the Taylor porch? Well, the chat room's all saying a number that's not the number that says on here. The number on here says there's 2 steps. 2 steps. So it says 2. 2 is what the answer is on this card. And a lot of folks are saying 3. They say, I don't know how you count the steps. So you got the ground, and you got a step, and then you got the porch. So is that 1 step in the porch, or is it 2 steps up to the porch, or are there 2 steps and then the porch? I mean, very confusing. I don't know the right answer, but I will look it up and make sure. We'll confirm. So we're saying, some are saying 3, or some are saying 2. So there's controversy. So that was question number 9. Let me give you number 10. Who broke a date with Opie to go out with the class pretty boy? That hurts. Who broke a date with Opie to go out with the class pretty boy? Okay, thinking about that. This is a color episode. Who broke a date with Opie to go out with the class pretty boy? All right. The answer is Mary Alice Carter. It was Morgan Brittany that broke Opie's heart. Broke all our heart. Poor Morgan Brittany. All right, since we had a controversy on question 9, I'm going to give you a true or false question that you can go with. Helen was arrested in St. Louis. True or false? It's a bonus question since we had controversy on how many steps there are. Helen was arrested in St. Louis. True or false? Helen was arrested in St. Louis. True or false? The answer is false. She was not arrested there. All right, so you had 10 questions plus a bonus. So the answer on my book says that it was 2 steps, but maybe I can look that up while Randy's looking. I'll look for a picture. If we can have a photograph, because I know where to look. So I'll look and see if I can get it. So, all right, folks, that is our trivia. I hope you did well. There was 10 questions plus a bonus. So how did you do? How did you do, Mrs. Wiley? So you guys check it out and see. And then let's go. And while we're waiting, I'm going to go try to check out the number of steps if I get an opportunity while we're listening to This Week in Mayberry History.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by special correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Cooper Pyle Comic Book Literary Guild of the Mayberry Historical Society.
Just over a month ago, we lost Jan Shutan, a member of the Mayberry family who appeared in the 5th season episode Guest in the House, near the end of the black and white episode run. Jan was born Janice Dottenheim on November the 5th, 1932, to an affluent family in Los Angeles. In 1955, Jan married Robert Shutan, an attorney 14 years her senior. For their honeymoon, they traveled to New York City. While there, Jan decided to audition for Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts, a variety show that had originated on radio in 1946 and was televised beginning in 1948 through 1958. Jan won the week she appeared as a singer. This began a love affair with the Big Apple. While she settled back in California once she started a family, Jan always considered herself a New Yorker at heart. After the birth of a daughter and a son while living in Beverly Hills, Jan did not begin acting until she was in her 30s. She made her television debut on April the 29th, 1963, in a small role in an episode of the series Ben Casey. After a second appearance in the popular medical drama that November, Jan then had a small role as a receptionist in a 1963 episode of the series Arrest and Trial. This series was a precursor to many of the current TV procedurals, the show usually having 2 segments, the first involving the police work leading to an arrest, and the second half dealing with the prosecution. A few weeks later, in January 1964, Jan had her first larger guest role in an episode of My Three Sons. That fall, Jan made her 4th television appearance in the second part of a 2-part episode of The Outer Limits. That particular episode, by the way, also included a teenaged Morgan Brittany, who would later appear in The Andy Griffith Show as Mary Alice Carter in the first episode of the final year of the Mayberry series. Just over a year later, Jan appeared as a recurring character for the first time, playing a character named Barbara Whitfield in the comedy series Valentine's Day. When Jan next appeared, it was obviously still early in her career and in only her 7th role. That portrayal was first seen on March the 8th, 1965, in The Andy Griffith Show. In the episode Guest in the House, Jan played Andy's cousin, Gloria. Though they were not really related by blood, Aunt Bee said their families were so close it was as if she were a cousin. Gloria was getting away from a broken engagement and instantly became a source of jealousy for Helen. A month after her appearance in Mayberry, Jan was in an episode of the cult favorite series The Fugitive. That May, after just 2 years of television acting, she cemented the character of Barbara Whitfield as a recurring one when she again appeared in Valentine's Day. In 1965, Jan made her first appearance in a made-for-television movie, a role that actually has a connection of sorts with the Andy Griffith Show's Ronnie Howard. When Sheldon Leonard was first looking for a child actor to play Opie for the new series he had created that was to be called The Andy Griffith Show, he found the perfect child actor to do so when he watched an episode late in 1959 of the anthology show General Electric Theater. The episode was called Mr. O'Malley, with Ronnie playing a child named Barnaby. The anthology installment served as a pilot for a possible series, though of course we Mayberry fans are well aware that series never materialized. Mr. O'Malley was actually based on a comic strip called Barnaby that has gained a cult following. It ran from 1942 to 1952. The strip was created by Crockett Johnson, now best known as the author of the classic children's book Harold and the Purple Crayon. In the strip, after Barnaby Baxter's mother read him a fairy tale that included the standard fairy godmother, Barnaby was surprised to learn that night that he had a fairy godfather named Jaqueen J. O'Malley. Jaqueen, or JJ as he was usually called, smoked a cigar and was not very adept at granting wishes. A stage play called Barnaby and Mr. O'Malley was produced in 1946, and as mentioned, the 1959 version that was called simply Mr. O'Malley starred Ronnie Howard, with Mr. O'Malley himself being played by Bert Lahr, who had played the Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. The Barnaby comic strip was revived between 1960 and 1962, which may have made it fresh enough in people's minds that another TV movie version called simply Barnaby was broadcast in 1965, with Jan playing Barnaby's mother. While Jan is definitely remembered for her Mayberry role as Gloria, she's actually better remembered in general for other roles that we'll discuss next week. So that's it for this week. And as always, thanks for listening. And remember to take care of yourself, take care of others, and take Andy's advice and go out there and act like somebody.
Well, thank you, Randy. Man, he always comes up with such good stuff. So head over to, or send him an email at turnersgrade@gmail.com if you don't want to miss out on any of the funs he's doing. turnersgrade@gmail.com, and you'll get all the Mayberry stuff he's doing. So I was trying to confirm the answer for how many steps are there on the front porch. How many steps are there on the front porch? So I went out and found an image, and it's from Opie the Birdman. That's probably the best one I have. Now, this is where it gets confusing, right? So there's the ground, then there are 2 steps, and then there's the porch level. Okay, so there's a ground, there's a step, one more step, and then the porch level. So is that 3 steps? So because you got to go 1, 2, 3 to be on the porch level, or is it 2 steps and then the porch? So technically, I guess there are 2 steps and then the porch. I would say that's 3 steps. But, I don't know. I am not a builder, so I don't know how many steps that is. I guess that's 2 steps and a porch. So anyway, so if you said 3, but you were counting the porch level as 1, I think you get it. If you said 2 because you weren't counting the porch level, you also get it. So I'll leave that up to you and your conscience to determine whether you got it right, because you didn't win anything anyway. So there's the ground, 2 steps, and then the porch. So you can see it in the picture. I definitely can see it. So that is or 2 steps and then the porch level. So that's, in my opinion, 3 steps. Because if I'm walking, that's 3 steps. If I only do 2 steps, I'm going to fall. So I don't know. Anyway, there you go. There's the answer. So there you get the bonus if you thought it was 2 steps and then the porch, and so you said 3. Or if you thought it was 2 steps and then the porch, it doesn't count as a step. So that's only 2 steps and then the porch. I'm confused to everybody that's listening. So, hey, folks, I want to just bring up, too, we've got some Mayberry Man movie stuff. If you'd like to know about it, there is a upcoming event going to be up in Scottsburg, Indiana, on the 21st of November of 2021. They're going to be showing the movie, and that's going to be a lot of fun. It's on a Sunday at the Ross Theater. And then also coming up in Huntsville, Madison, Alabama, Madison and Huntsville, Alabama area, on Saturday, December the 11th at 7 p.m., we'll have a showing at the Cineplanet 15 here in the Huntsville area. You can check out this and find that information if you go to mayberryman.com. That's information about whatever the current events are when it's showing, hopefully in your area. If you'd like to try to get it in your area, you can reach out to your local theaters and try to get them involved in having the movie. I think that's probably something Mayberry Man would like. But you can definitely head over to Weaver's Department Store and pick up a DVD. If you can't watch DVDs, you can head over to Amazon Prime Video and purchase the video that direction as well. All right, guys, I think that's all I've got for you. I hope you have had a good time visiting with me here in Mayberry. And wow, I thought this show would be short, and here we are, 30 some odd minutes in. So I would love to hear from you guys. You can give me a call at 684-8415. Call in. Leave messages like we had for Spirit Walker and Chris. I love to hear from you. And the fellow fans, we all love to hear from you as well. So call in, leave your messages, and bring up some of these cool things like they did. Wow, stuff to think about and stuff to look into. Always fun. You can also email me at floyd@imayberry.com if you'd rather do that. I always love hearing from you listeners. So until next time, everybody, have a great Mayberry week. And join me back here for Two Chairs, No Waiting. You have a good one. Happy Veterans Day. It's coming up this week. Good night, everybody.